All right, here we are for part two, and this was the part that my buddy had the most trouble with. It's actually very simple. The part of making the gravy. You don't need to add a lot of stuff. You might need some cornstarch or flour if you don't have it, just to thicken it up. And the only other thing you should need if it's been cooked long enough and the flavor is good enough is, what does that say? Salt. Well, to me it says tilaz, but it's salt. So, let's have a look to see. So I haven't touched it. I know I said 9 o'clock, but because I was getting hungry about an hour or so ago, I put it on the high. So this is a slow cooker, so it can cook. You can cook a meal from 8 to 10 hours if you want, or you can put it at half the time if you want to put it on high. It depends on what your time frame is like. So take this thing off. Ouch. Don't touch the outside, it's hot. And let's see. So you can see all the juices and everything in there. I just wanted to show you before I take it out and make a mess all over the place. Oh, nobody needs to see that. Move you a little closer. So when you're using the cheaper cutter roast, it's probably going to fall apart when you take it out. But hopefully, because this is a rib roast, it will stay together. And you have all those delicious juices flowing through. I'll lay you that way. I have a big cutting board, so if any of the juices take off, we're going to put them back into our pot. And we'll scoop out some of the vegetables. And they're still firm, they're not mushy. Actually, I'll let you have a look inside to see. So you see how many vegetables we have in here? This is enough for the whole family, okay? And I probably had you upside down there, but that's all right. Hey, fish tank. All right, let's get these vegetables out. The big thing I want to show you guys, or show him, is the gravy. So let's get these vegetables out. And you can smell that strong Guinness flavoring that's going through this, the Guinness beer that I used. It won't taste like beer, but hopefully, I did put a lot. So like I said from the beginning, one shot meal, cook everything all together. No muss, no fuss. Some people use a chicken stock or a mushroom gravy. You can do that. Even one of the best things I do is put pork chops in this thing and put a can of mushroom soup over it and just let it go. And you don't need to add anything. Alright, so because this doesn't cook at a high enough temperature, we're going to put it on the stove. And I'm going to cook it in here. So I'll pour all the juice out. I just want to show you how to thicken up a gravy. most people know it, but like I said, the main reason I made this video is for one of my good friends who's a little challenged in the kitchen. How do you like those plastic gloves that resist heat? And here's our vegetables. So you wait till this thing gets to a boil. I'll show you inside. Now you don't need much of this cornstarch, okay? I put about one, depends on how thick you want it to be. I put about 1 tablespoon, 1 fork spoon, and just a wee bit of water, maybe 1/4 cup. Because you don't want to water down your gravy, you still want the flavor, so. Mix it up really good. You don't want any clumps in there, because if you clump it, it's going to be like paper mache in your gravy. You don't want that. So we got a nice boil going on here. Let's get the fan. I hope that doesn't interfere with your sound too bad. Give it a good stir. You want to scrape up because there's still some meat particles in there. You want to get them all around. Make sure this is good and mixed. And because it's a little, I probably put a little too much alcohol in there, or beer. So we're going to put just a little bit, maybe 1.5 tablespoons into our cornstarch mixture. Get that nice and thick. Make sure there's no clumps in there, or it will turn paper mache. Sorry, that's probably screwing your video. Get a little bit of a whirlpool going in there. And drop in your cornstarch. Now you gotta let this cook. You gotta let it cook up and thicken up. Then you'll know if you need to add any more. Right now it's way too watery, but this cornstarch will thicken things up and make it into a nice thick gravy. Never put your cornstarch directly in. As I've found out, it just makes it one big mess. You'll be, like I said, it becomes a very thick paper mache. Alright, now we've got a good boil, so I'm going to just turn it down just a little bit. See what kind of a thickness we have. The only other thing you should need to add for flavor is salt. That's the only thing you need to add to your gravy. Of course, you're going to taste it first. Oh, starting to get there. You can already see that it's thickening up. Alright, let's grab a spoon now and give the old taste test. See, we need it thicker than that. It's still a little too runny, so it still needs some time to cook. But it's, obviously thicker than what it was at. So I'm going to add another 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. And just a trickle of water. Because I really want this to be thick. Just enough to get the cornstarch out. But you can see it is getting a little thicker just by cooking it. Wow, you can really smell the Guinness. And for all the hate mail that I'm getting, sorry I poured out that Guinness. I shouldn't have done that. I should have waited till it was off the air. I just can't stand drinking it. It's too thick. The flavor is great, but my stomach just says no. So just a little bit more, and that should do it. Now we're gonna let this cook for about a minute. Stir, break up any chunks that are still in there. And I don't know if you can see that, but it is getting thicker. Starting to look a little more like gravy. Just remember, do not add the cornstarch directly in. Flour will make it thicken up quicker, but it also takes a little bit of flavor out. So I like this consistency. I'm gonna turn that off, or turn it down, I should say. Now let's give it a taste. Try not to burn my mouth. Okay, the consistency is good, but like I said, to bring the flavor out in any gravy, this magic ingredient for some reason, just a little bit of salt, not even much. Maybe, I don't even think that was a full teaspoon. Now, am I gonna get another spoon to taste this? Yes, only because I'm sick. If I wasn't sick, forget about it. Forget about it. But you can see how thick that is now, right? That's not a lot of cornstarch. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Just from that amount of salt. All right, let's cut this roast open and see what it looks like. And if you guys are sending comments, I can't see them, I don't have my glasses. Yeah, that's right, I'm getting old. So gravy's good, temperature is off. Temperature. It is off. Now this is a rib roast, like I said. It's not something I normally do in a slow cooker, but let's just cut these strings off. Now, you probably don't need a knife, but we'll use one anyway. Cut right through the middle, and I don't know if you can see that bottom bar or not, but so this should be tender enough just to pull apart with the spoon, the knife, I mean with a fork, however you want to do it. What I'm probably going to do now with the fork, see, this is just waiting to come off. Just do this. If you want to have a good sandwich, like almost like a pulled pork, but pulled beef sandwich. See that? So tender. I bet you it tastes really good. And nothing fancy. You don't have to do a lot of work. It's a simple meal. Feed the whole family. You look at all these vegetables. This whole bowl is full of carrots, onions, and potatoes. So I'll have that with the rice and some gravy, and we're set. So remember, buddy, do not put the cornstarch or flour directly into the pot. Mix it with some water first. The only time that I really add salt is when I do my at the end for the gravy, because you'll know if you need a little more flavor, just add that little bit of salt. It brings out all the flavor in the gravy. Anyways, that's it. That's my show. Hope you enjoyed it.